Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. I just got done watching Wrestlemania Rewind on the WWE Network. This is one of my favorite shows there is out there. Honestly, when the WWE Network first rolled out and they said one of the first original set of shows was going to be called Wrestlemania Recall, I sort of was like, that's one of the first thing every collector does when they get into collecting. They would buy the WrestleManias first. I did that when I got into VHS tape collecting back in the day, because those are the biggest shows. And honestly, whenever wrestlers do shooting reviews, whenever the wrestlers do documentaries through WWE, those are the matches that they always make sure they always go over, because those are the matches that everybody always clamors towards. WrestleMania is the biggest show of every year. Everybody knows that, so that's what they're going to do. So I was like, what are they going to be able to do? What are they going to be able to show us? What are they going to be able to tell us about WrestleMania that we don't already know? And here we are, 19 episodes in, and that's the Triple H versus Undertaker one from WrestleMania 27. And this is one of the best shows they have going out there on there. I turns out I just found out that in order to count how many shows they've done, I just figured out that I missed last week's show, and after I'm done with this, I'll watch the Triangle Ladder match from WrestleMania 2000, and that's going to be another great one. But all of these shows have been good. It started off with the Pat Summerall WrestleMania one, and we've gone all the way through now. I'm really excited because I've often said that WrestleMania, Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels is one of my favorite WrestleMania matches, or favorite mania. Or not, I keep messing up. It's one of my favorite matches in general. I mean, just all out. That is an awesome match. Two guys in their prime, just giving it all they can. So many times, during this era, you would see Shawn and you would see Kurt have separate matches on any show, and they were always battling it out to be able to say who had the match of the night. And here they are finally being able to do it against each other. And that match is really, really good. But here we have The Undertaker battling Triple H. I've often said that this is one of the best matches that I've ever seen live. And after watching this back, it might be there. I mean, if these two matches are going to go neck and neck for the rest of my life to see, which one is going to be my favorite. But this one I have a special feeling to. Everybody knows about the WrestleMania 27 trip I went on with my buddies. It was Ravi, it was Luke, it was Miguel. We were the Rat Pack. We were taking it down. Billy Paz was there, but he didn't have seats with us for this show. But I mean, when I was watching this today, it was almost like I was sitting in my seat, basically, cheering along. I remember, just grabbing a hold. I believe it was Ravi next to me at WrestleMania. I think it went me, Ravi, Miguel, and then Luke. And I remember at one point just grabbing a hold of Ravi and just yelling in his face like, he's gonna beat him. He's gonna beat him. I was so pumped up. With WrestleMania 27, of course, everybody knows the way that they started this out was basically talking about the Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels match at WrestleMania 26, and that is what started, Undertaker going into the part-time status, I guess you can say, wrestling only at WrestleMania. He took a year off. They bring up the fact that how beat up he was after the Shawn matches, and he just sort of disappeared into the dark. And then they started showing the Cabin 2/21/11 promos, and everybody, Brodus Clay brought it up that it was dark, it was shadowy. You didn't know if it was going to be somebody, new coming in to WWE. Sort of that was their one way of, bringing up the whole thing of it might have been Sting. I remember that's why my good buddy Luke, he went to the show that night because he was really hoping to see Sting's debut in WWE, and that was going to be a big one. Turns out it was Undertaker coming out of the cabin, and then he walked down to basically he was going to give some sort of a promo before he was interrupted by Triple H. Triple H came down to the ring, and these guys just stared at each other, and it was awesome. You could cut the tension with a knife, as Gorilla Monsoon would say, and from there, there wasn't a whole lot of build to it, if I remember right. I remember they had to kill off Sheamus versus Triple H because people were dying to see why Triple H wasn't going after Sheamus. So basically, there was a point on Monday Night Raw, I believe it was the Raw before WrestleMania. Triple H was giving a promo, and Sheamus ran down to the ring, ran right into Triple H, hitting him with a pedigree on top of the announce table, just to basically shut the internet up. Is the only reason why I think that happened. But I can't really remember anything big. If I remember right, it was always like Undertaker was on SmackDown, Triple H was on Raw. We never saw these guys each other really pair up. I really wanted to see this match, and I had been asking for it for months. For the one reason, I thought the main storyline for this match would have been that, Undertaker forced Shawn Michaels to retire at WrestleMania 26. I thought that basically they could bring up the fact that Triple H being pissed that Undertaker made his friend retire and he was going to take it out on him, and he was going to take the one thing from Undertaker that meant the most to him, and that would be the streak at WrestleMania. It turns out that they just wanted to go with the storyline of Triple H was basically borderline bored in WWE is what he was saying. He had done everything. He'd beat all the champions. He'd beat John Cena at that point. He'd beat The Rock. He'd beat this person and that person. He'd won, the WWE Championship. He won the Intercontinental Championship. He won the tag belts. There was nothing really for him to conquer at WrestleMania except for the streak. They never really brought up the fact of WrestleMania 17 in the Astrodome of Undertaker, beating him. I think that the one reason was that they didn't want to bring up the fact that at that time, Undertaker was the biker taker at that point, or maybe they just went with the rule of wrestling that Hulk Hogan brought up when he's talking about the Destruction of Ultimate Warrior DVD, when he's just like, if you've already sold this match once and everybody's bought it, don't bring it back up and put it in your mind, like Ultimate Warrior said on Monday Nitro, that when he was basically having the stare down with Hogan, he brought up the fact that they had fought at WrestleMania 6 and Warrior had beat him, and that was the one thing that Hogan said drew all the air out of the balloon for that match. But once they got down to business, there was a lot about this match that really stands out to me that I really love. I had forgotten, how awesome the WrestleMania 27 set was. The way the set was up near the ramp, it was set up, I would say, most like a castle would be, with the lights sort of beaming down in an archway. It almost built for when Triple H came out with his cavalry and everybody around him with the shields, and then they all ducked away, and then you saw him standing with his silver mask and the sort of Scott Steiner King Arthur face thing with the the stuff that would protect him if the sword was coming. He's sort of just totally decked out in it. He comes out on the network thing. You hear Metallica's song playing, but you don't hear any lyrics. But I think they get away with it at that point because there are no lyrics playing, and then it just cuts to dark, and it seems like an eternity before the game comes on, and he's in there in his wrestling attire, and he's coming down, and he's ready to kick some ass. I honestly can't 100% tell you if I remember if they played the Johnny Cash entrance at WrestleMania. I think they played Johnny Cash when Undertaker came down at the venue, but on the WrestleMania recall itself, I'm pretty sure that it was edited over. But I think there was Metallica playing when Triple H came out. But once these guys got into the ring, they got all down to business. Right off the bat, these guys started fighting on the outside of the ring. And basically, that is when the old memories of what was going on at WrestleMania 27 was built up. Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross were doing announcing. They did a good job. Jerry King Lawler is wearing a Stone Cold Steve Austin t-shirt, and if you were trying to realize why he was wearing that shirt, from the very beginning of the match, they tear down the coal mine with Triple H shoving Undertaker into it, and the coal mine just sort of collapses on top of each other. That was all because of the Jerry Lawler versus Michael Cole storyline that was going on at that point. And then right next to the announcers is the Raw General Manager's booth. That's always been great to me, and we later find out that was Hornswoggle behind all of that, and that gets everybody a good little chuckle. But they're fighting outside of the ring. At one point, Triple H is on the outside of the ring, and Undertaker comes and does one as Undertaker dives over the top rope, which hopefully will be one of the last times he ever does this. Undertaker hits Triple H, but I mean, it is just within inches of him missing and landing on his neck for the second, at 25 that he landed horribly, where he didn't make it to the cameraman and Shawn Michaels. But it was very close. Hopefully that'll be one of the very last times he does one of the dives to the outside. But basically, this is the great match for the one factor of, it's just, when they first start getting to the nitty gritty of this match, once it really starts, breaking down from being a wrestling match, the guys just hitting finishers and just having the crowd on the edge of their seat to see like if the streak is still going to stay intact or if the streak is really going to be broken. Undertaker hits Triple H with a choke slam and a last ride. He kicks out of both of those. Once the game is able to turn it around and he's able to sort of take over the advantage of the match. Triple H hits a pedigree. Undertaker kicks out. Triple H says, "Fuck that." He hits him with the tombstone. Boom. And then Undertaker kicks out of that. And it's just like, wow. And that's when you first start to see the panic on Triple H's face. He knows he's in control of this match, but he's starting to maybe see what Undertaker has at WrestleMania that makes him better than everybody else. He goes to the outside and he grabs a steel chair and he just starts going to town on Undertaker. I think they do the chair to the face, the unprotected chair shot. I believe they do that a few times. I think he whacks him in the back. He's just nailing him everywhere. And Triple H is able to hit a DDT on top of the steel chair. And he's just begging Undertaker to stay down. And as Undertaker's fighting to get up, you can see the real panic start to set on his face. Like, what the fuck am I going to have to do to put this guy out of his misery? Like, he's just begging him, die, Undertaker, die. Just stay down. There's nothing for you to do. You're not going to win this. And we see Undertaker get up. Much like Dirty Harry style, and he's just like, no, we're gonna fucking fight, and he looks drunk on his feet, like he's got his ass kicked the whole time, but he's got his hands up, and he's like, let's do this, let's go, and that's when he walks right into a pedigree from Triple H. Boom! Undertaker gets up again. Fuck, what's he gonna do? Triple H picks him up, spins him around, puts him in the tombstone, boom, tombstones him into the ground, and that's when I was just like, fuck it, it's over, and every other person in the arena stands up there on their feet looking like it. This is it, salute the Undertaker. It's going to be over. It's going to be done with. He kicks out. And that's when Triple H just goes to the outside. There's nothing else he can do. He goes to get a sledgehammer, and he's just going to clobber Undertaker right in the head. And when he's coming up to him with a sledgehammer, Undertaker locks on the Hell's Gate. Triple H drops the sledgehammer. And in my mind, I'm going crazy. I'm just saying, don't tap. I'm grabbing all the Ravi. I'm shaking the shit out of him like crazy. And I'm just like, don't tap out. And Triple H is grabbing around on the floor. He's trying to find where that sledgehammer is. And he finally picks it up and he raises it over his head. And he goes to turn it where he's got his hand on the head of the sledgehammer. And he's just got a punch Taker right in the face. And about that time is when his body starts falling out and it starts collapsing on him. And just boom, he drops. And that's when it's over. And he's made that one mistake. The Hell's Gate, Undertaker's been able to lock that in. Once they clear the ring, Undertaker collapses. They launch off the fireworks. They have to send the medics down to take Taker out. And it's just like, how do you I thought that Taker was dead in storyline. I thought that was them saying, like, boom, it's over. You're never going to see Taker away, because you never see Taker get... At the Elimination Chamber, I believe it was 2010, he walked through fire as the damn pyro went off at the wrong time, and it burnt up his chest. He was covered in flames. He went out there, he got into the pod, and he stood there and waited for his time to get into the ring, fought to the whole time because he was involved in the finish. And he still walked to the back, and then he yelled at Vince about, get rid of the guy, and he got his burns taken care of. But I mean, like, well, I couldn't believe it. Like, he's a dead man, and he's on a cart being taken to the back. Triple H says that he thought that was going to be the last time that Undertaker ever had a match. But, then we would see him come back for WrestleMania 28. We would see him come back for WrestleMania 30. I guess 29 too against CM Punk. But this is right here in my collection is two of my favorite pieces. Right here we have the 28 one. Of course, this isn't talking about 28, but here is the WrestleMania 27 plaque, signed by Triple H, signed by Taker. Probably one of the only few in existence. I think a few people have copied me since this, busting it open. But my good buddy Miguel got that signed at SummerSlam, I believe 2011. It might have been 2012. But that's why I have them up there. Those are two of my favorite pieces. These are two of my favorite matches. And I'm glad I got to see this one again. Check out WrestleMania Recall, WrestleMania Rewind, whatever it's called on the WWE Network, and watch this match again. Or just pop in WrestleMania 27, because it's a great one. One of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time.